Grace to you and peace from God our Creator and Christ our Redeemer. It was about a year ago that I found myself in a conversation with a man in his early 30s. He was telling me about his plans to save up enough money to be able to retire early and his attempts to find passive income sources to support him and his family in an early retirement. He was in a job that he was good at, but did not find particularly meaningful. And he was mourning the fact that his work left him little time or energy to do anything else. In total, he described a feeling of a lack of purpose in his career and in his life. If only he could save up just a bit more. Then he would finally have enough to do something that he enjoyed. Then he would finally have enough to do something that felt meaningful. Then he would finally have enough to discover his purpose. After listening to him, I asked, "What then is enough?" After a long silence, he responded, "I don't know." And in those 3 words, he spoke great truth. Though this was a particular conversation with a particular person that took place in a particular time, it is also a conversation that could be had by any of 1,000 other people in our world today. There are so many of us who are longing for something more in our lives, so many of us searching and seeking for something more, so many of us aware that there is something missing, but unsure of how to find it or even what it looks like. A long time ago, in another particular place and a particular time, amidst an occupation and surrounded by empire, a particular people felt lost and unsure of where to turn. The rulers were the puppets of the empire. They did not care for the people, only power. The religious leaders were struggling to keep order and calm, lest the empire crush them all. They could not provide the answers the people were seeking. And the people were lost in the wilderness. To whom should they listen? All they knew, the only thing that was clear to them, was that there should be something more. They knew deep in their bones that the world as it was could not be right. The only thing they knew was that this was not how it was supposed to be. This could not be what God envisioned for God's people. And then, suddenly, into this wilderness, a voice did cry out. John appeared among the lost and the wandering people with radical words that there is something more, that there is more for this world than what is, that the Messiah is coming, the one who can save us is coming, that there is still a vision for creation, and that God has not forgotten the ancient promise. And hearing his voice, the people flocked to John. At last they knew where to turn. At last they were no longer lost in the wilderness. And they waited with him. And they prepared with him for the one who is coming. My friends, we are not occupied by Rome anymore, but we are still lost, and we are still wandering in the wilderness. Not a wilderness filled with great trees and terrifying animals, but one mired in capitalism and the morass of consumerism. We are no longer ruled by an emperor, but by the ruthless promise that we are always one purchase away from happiness, that we need just a little bit more to finally find security and meaning and purpose. But it leaves us hollow. Empty, we are left wandering through the wilderness, and not just us. It has turned our world into a husk, sucked dry and discarded by the side of the road. Surely there must be something more. Surely this is not all that there is. There must be a greater meaning in our lives, a greater purpose than the acquisition of possession and wealth. As I look out at our world, I see so many people lost in this wilderness. As I listen to the stories of the world, I hear such a longing for something more. And I see it especially in younger people for whom the brokenness of the world is painfully apparent and of great urgency. We are all lost and wandering, my friends, unsure of where to go, uncertain of where to turn. Who will be that voice crying out in the wilderness in this time and in this place? But this is the good news. That is exactly what we have to offer to this world, because we know that there is something more. We know the gospel message that each of you are worth more than the sum of your possessions or the size of your paycheck. That you, each of you, is loved, not because of what you do or what you offer, but because God chooses to love you. The proclamation we have to share with the world is that there is something wholly different around which to orient ourselves, something that is not capitalism or consumerism, but rather nothing more than the one who created all things. It is the good news that there is one in whom we find the source of all meaning and purpose, one who calls us into faithful discipleship in every moment and breath of our lives. And it is the good news that that one is coming into the world. There are always risks to being a voice amidst the wilderness. For John, the risk was his life. His voice cost him his head. But that is not our risk. Not today. Not in this wilderness. Our risk is that we will be ignored, that we will be ostracized, that we will be dismissed as fools by a world that resists the good news. But the risk of keeping silent is far greater, for it is the risk of leaving people lost when they long for something, someone to offer them a way forward. It is the risk of forgetting who we are and what it is that we are about. It is the risk of missing our Savior's arrival because we are not prepared and have allowed ourselves to be lulled to sleep. It is the risk of having Jesus reduced to nothing more than a tinsel-haloed caricature in the service of the broken values of this world. No, we cannot keep silent. Christ is coming, and the world longs to hear a voice in the wilderness crying out the good news.